Hey everyone, welcome back to TBM Sports. Let's talk Thursday Night Football. Great matchup. Actually, one of the more, I think, excited about I've been for a primetime Thursday night game between the Cowboys and the Lions. Okay, fresh off of some great Thanksgiving performances as we did see the Lions and the Packers as well as the Cowboys Chiefs. Great games and now back in action. Short week, kind of. Okay, I think it's great how they line this one up so you don't really have too much of a shorter week, but they do get basically a full 7 days. Let's talk about this game in its entirety, and we'll look at kind of the way the money has been flowing, and I'll give you guys my best bets looking at this matchup, okay? If you are new here, awesome. We do talk sports betting every single day here on YouTube. I do have an X account as well if you want to give me a follow over there, but make sure you hit the like button. Please subscribe down below and join us, and we'll talk about this game right now looking at Outlier, and we see right now the Lions, they are 7-5 entering this game, and this is a interesting matchup because now if the Cowboys are able to prevail with that tie that they had, okay, with that tie against Green Bay, they would have a edge on the Detroit Lions for positioning within the NFC, okay? The Lions are laying 3 at home. We will have no weather concerns there in Ford Field and a little fast turf, so a lot of the over bettors there as we see a total set at 54.5. This game's going to go a couple different ways, and I'll share with you guys kind of what I'm looking at within the numbers as we do break this one all down. So let's get into it. On the side and total perspective, we're seeing I don't agree with this betting split with the public versus the money. This is kind of where you look at the Lions and basically 55% on the over is what I'm seeing. I think this is wrong. I think the spread is heavily shifted in favor of the Cowboys in terms of just where the money is headed, okay? But we do have some questionable in statuses and a lot of injury concerns there for the Lions. We do have, for example, Amon-Ra St. Brown, game time decision, left the Thanksgiving matchup a little bit early, and since then hasn't practiced, okay? So he's going to see if he can give that ankle a go, but also on the offensive line. A lot of concerns there for the Lions. And one thing about Jared Goff, he needs his offensive line to have success, okay? Penei Sewell will be questionable. We see Graham Glass now, as well as Taylor Decker, okay? Pretty much the vast majority of that strength of the Detroit Lions offensive line is going to be up in the air going against a Cowboys team who has been surging a lot better on defense, and they're on the upswing, okay? One thing about this game, though, okay, one thing about this game, there is something with the Cowboys. It's that national brand, and, you know, my eye test is there. I can get home with the Cowboys, but I'll tell you guys right now, there is a lot of that public feel right now on the Dallas Cowboys, okay? It's deserving, but it's still in the back of my mind, and if I trust my power rankings, because if we look at the DVOA, we look at all the numbers and the metrics, they're just not fully there to the level that you would want to see them at. They're still a 6-5-1 team that we've seen a lot of inefficiencies throughout the year, okay? But let's talk about this game. I do want to kind of mention as well that there is some implication, I think, with the point spread, right? As we talked about, Amon-Ra St. Brown, very much important to that number, okay? He's worth, I think, a point and a half, maybe even 2 points in my personal opinion for the Lions, and that's kind of why we've seen a shift from an early number being posted at 6 in favor of the Lions all the way down to now 3, but that's kind of where we settled off at as the total still at 54.5. If you do like the total, okay, this is kind of how I stack up, right? This could be potentially, right? And a lot of these primetime games have this feel and aura about them. This could be potentially the highest scoring NFL game of the season, okay? Forget the point spreads, forget the totals. This could be, you know, outside of that 40-40 game that we saw the Dallas Cowboys tie the Packers, this could surpass that, okay? We could get 80 plus in this game. It has that implication, right? Fast field. Offenses are playing well. Detroit needs to win this game. Dallas is looking untouchable. CeeDee Lamb, the likes of George Pickens, and they got the tight end position running. But we could get a not so fast here and could get a very, very easy under to cash here in prime time, which I do favor that. But I think this is something where you look into the Cowboys, right? Tyler Guyton, I think that's just something where he could be missing for the Cowboys. So they could be missing a lot of offensive linemen. Could be more so just a running game. It could be just a physical game. We could not see that we may not see that aerial attack that I think a lot of people are alluding to. So keep that in mind. Okay, that's in the back of my mind. I think that is something where you look into the Lions defense. I think they're a lot better than what leads us to believe that from their 7-5 record and how they've played some other competition. So me personally, I think I'm all about a little same game teaser here. I probably would end up venturing into the taking the Cowboys above that 7, above the 8, and then also coming back on the under where essentially you'd have to eclipse 61 points. Okay. So that's kind of where I'm at. If I do want to give you guys leans, I'm on the boys +3 despite all the public favoritism. And also I do kind of lend towards the under, okay, just being honest. But like I said, it's not a strong consideration for the under. I don't have an official play, but I will be on the Dallas Cowboys +3, although a lot of that value is gone. You can find 3.5s out there with juice. That is readily available. But I'm just saying, in my personal opinion, yeah, -120 on Bet365. But in my personal opinion, we could get a little bit of a dud in terms of just what we're expecting here offensively. Okay, so let's get into the official plays from a prop perspective, and I will kind of point out as we get going these picks. I will recap them at the end of the video. And let's get into the receiving, okay? First and foremost, Jahmyr Gibbs. I think that with this depleted Lions, or at least tattered Lions offensive line, a lot of checkdowns, okay? Montgomery does well at the backfield, a little sneaky play there, but I still think Jahmyr Gibbs, you can find over 35.5 there on Hard Rock. I'm going over, okay? -115, over 35.5. Jahmyr Gibbs receiving yards. That will be one of my official plays. That is if you can't bet at Hard Rock, that is a considerable difference. It's a 1-yard gap for the same amount of juice, relatively speaking. So I do like that one quite a bit. Also, if you do want to take a stab on Jameson Williams, if St. Brown is out, this number will climb closer to game time. Bet this sooner than later. But he is the kind of go-to guy there for Jared Goff without a tight end. And right now you're going to have to go over 80 yards for Jameson Williams, where if you take out that one performance where he had 0 catches on like 3 targets, he's eclipsed this in 3 straight games. So I love me some Jameson Williams going over 79.5. I like the yardage more so than the receptions. Keep that in mind. Also, let's get a little chalky with this one. Let's look on the other side of the ball as we do talk about CeeDee Lamb. Okay, this is kind of where we've seen him go off as well. I personally lend towards the conversation within Branch that I think this is more of a Pickens game. You'd have to go basically over 81.5 yards on MGM to have CeeDee Lamb come home. However, this one is right there in front of us. I do think that CeeDee Lamb, you have a better chance, in my opinion. He's kind of an outlier for me. I would lend towards the receptions. Okay, over 6.5 at +112, I think has a little bit more value. And if he has 7 grabs, which he's done so in 6 of 10 games this season, if he has 7 grabs, okay, he will eclipse 80 yards, but I do think you get a better number at +112. So I lean towards more so CeeDee Lamb's receptions, getting some plus money value versus taking his receiving yards, okay? And then lastly, I do want to talk about the other guy that is been on the hot list for me. One of my best kind of horses I've been riding on the Dallas Cowboys. We're going to look at George Pickens, okay? And this is kind of where we're going to allude to the fact that I don't know what the hell the Pittsburgh Steelers were doing letting him walk. With the money they spent on defense, boy, it would have been nice if they could have George Pickens catching passes. But still, 80 yards for Pick. I think this is kind of where you go over with his yardage. I think this is a clear-cut number 2 option for the Dallas Cowboys. And in a game where if we do see 54.5 points going over, I think that 79.5 for George Pickens is a pretty substantial discount, where I think this should probably be more so 85.5, 86.5. So I think we get a little bit of a value here. And I do like his longest reception as well, -110 to go over 26.5 yards. Okay, so that's pretty much how I stack up. Nothing fancy. This will be a great, if we do get 55 points or above, this will be a great avenue to get a same game parlay going, get something cooked up, and I will share with you guys on the Discord if I do put something in. Touchdowns, I'm going to stay away from that. I think that we could either have 8 touchdowns in this game, or we could have potentially 3 or 4. So a little bit more variance. I haven't made up my mind on that one. However, I do like all the usual candidates, just being honest. More so receiving, though, in this contest. And like I said, I'm going to be looking to take advantage of that a little later on if I do put together a same game parlay. Okay, but it's pretty much going to be Ariel, Jamison Williams, George Pickens, and if you do foresee 55 points or above, Jared Goff, we could even talk him, Prescott, even maybe a little combined passing yard prop. I think that we could see 500 combined for both of these two quarterbacks here in this spot, and this could be a absolute shootout. However, Pickens, I will tell you guys, look at this. 24.2% of his target share versus CeeDee Lamb's 18.7. So another reason why I do like George Pickens to go over not just his receiving yards, but also longest reception. Okay, so let's lock that in. If you haven't done so by now, please like and subscribe to the channel. I will recap the best bets. I'm taking the Cowboys plus 3.5 if you want to pay some juice. We're going to take George Pickens over 80, George Pickens over 26.5. minus 110, 79.5 for his yardage, not 80. Apologies for that. Over 26.5 longest reception, minus 110. And then also it's a lean. It's not an official best bet, but if you did want to dive into CeeDee Lamb, 6.5 grabs at plus 112, I think is very appetizing. Okay. And then the final play will be Jahmyr Gibbs going over his receiving prop, where we did find that at 35.5. Okay. Appreciate you guys. Good luck out there. Let's cash some tickets, and I'll see you all in the next video. Cheers.